Hey, Forge fans, Anthony Urcioli with you. It's the match in review. Forge FC with a 1-0 win on the road at Pacific. Pacius with the winner. And Forge, they hang on. They defend well, and they hang on for victory. All 3 points for Forge FC. It's early. We're only 3 matches in, but they move into a first-place tie in the CPL table with Valor, with a win now and 2 draws. So still without a loss, Forge FC come away with 3 points. Interesting look for Forge FC coming into this match in terms of their lineup. Now, not a lot of surprises on the back end. You had Rama, Ashton Yodi Janssen, James, Ashton Morgan, Hojab Rapport, no surprise there, playing that holding midfield position. Then you had Sissoko and Kyle Becker making his return, his debut for Forge FC this season. Let me just say, no signs of rust whatsoever on Kyle Becker. He did get subbed out of the second half. We'll talk more about Becker momentarily. So he shared the midfield with Hojab Rapport and Sissoko. Up front, Chouanier, Pacius, Taron Campbell with the start. So a different look. Borges entering the game a little later, but this is what Forge went with to start. And I have to go back to my notes here because I got to tell you, I mean, Forge, they got the start they needed. There's no question there. 3 minutes in, it was a Forge crossbar. Sissoko with an absolute hammer. I mean, the volley, the sheer velocity of this ball after Taron Campbell bullied his way into the final third, delivered, and Pacius just hammered the crossbar. So Forge coming on strong early. Nothing to show for it quite yet. 10-minute mark, another big chance for Forge. It was Chouanier on the corner. Pacius just could not wrap his foot around it. So early on, you wondered, right? Because here's kind of been, Forge, they've liked the way they've started this year. But that final touch, that clinical finish just hasn't quite been there. And you see a bar early on. Pacius with an opportunity, just not able to wrap his foot around it in the area. You're watching this, you're going, oh, God, is this going to be one of those games? It was not. Because Forge did eventually break through. 15-minute mark, though. I marked this one down because Kyle Becker, when I say he showed no signs of rust, he absolutely just, again, head down, bullies his way into the final third for Forge, creates the scoring opportunity, hands it off to Ashton Morgan. This was in the 17-minute mark. A perfect cross. I mean, the delivery could not have been better. It was high. It was in a spot only Pacius could get to, and Pacius, boy, did he ever get to it. There was a pogo stick. So, I don't know. I mean, the air on Pacius, he gets up, he gets his head on the ball, and he opens the scoring for Forge FC. It's 1-0 at that point. And Becker was noticeable the entire first half. I mean, here's a guy who's been chomping at the bit to just get some kind of game action in. He was on his horse for most of this game, particularly in the first half, defensively as well. There was a moment there, Forge turnover, and Pacific looked like they may have had an opportunity to tie the game. Becker hustling back, applies the back pressure, forces a turnover. Forge are able to go back the other way. 44th minute, another key moment I marked down because the reigning defender of the year, Alex Ashton-Yodi Janssen, sliding challenge at the edge of the area, breaks up an attack, and then sends Forge on the attack the other way. So first half, Forge had to like their game on the road, almost a perfect road match for Forge in that first half. Shots were 7-5 in favor of Forge. Those were the attempts. 2 on target, none on target for Pacific, and Forge had 56% of the possession in the first half. Second half, a little bit of a different story. Pacific, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Pacific, quality team at home. They've been in pretty good form this season. They've liked the start to their year. And yeah, they came on in the second half looking for that equalizer. Fortunately for Forge FC, they were up to the task. Some changes, some substitutions in that second half for Forge FC, beginning In the 61st minute, Borges comes on for Becker. So Becker with 61 minutes in his season debut, and it just completely emptied the tank. He was phenomenal. Matusala would come in for Choinière. Hamilton would come in for Pacias as Forge kind of rejigged their lineup a little bit. Malik came in for Terran Campbell. So again, more of a defensive look for Forge in the latter stages here. And then Dominic Samuel came on for Rama. End of the day, this would be your final. 1-0 in favor of Forge FC. Full credit, by the way. Full credit to Tristan Henry. Pacific had 2 shots on target, but Henry was aggressive all match. Cut off a lot of corners, a lot of deliveries. This is what Henry does. Not afraid. He was all over the place. Expected goals, if you want to look at the advanced stats, favored Pacific a little bit in this one. So Forge, sometimes that means Pacific didn't quite finish. Other times it means Forge did a pretty good job defending. And sometimes as a club, no matter how good you are, no matter how talented you are, no matter how much success you've had, you have to defend at some point. Every club has to do it. Forge, this was a test for them. And they were successful. And they secured the 3 points. 1-0 was the final there. After the match, head coach, technical director, Bobby Smirniotis at the podium. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, the one thing with Rubens is you give him games and he scores goals. And that's his best attribute. It's similar to a player I coached years ago in Kyle Larin in that end. The more they play in the games, the goals come to them. He's just an excellent player in the box, and not only the goal, but he's got 2 other very good chances in the first half that are probably easier finishes than the goal. And we know that's what we get with him. But we've got a great group of attacking players today. Terran Campbell also did a very good job. In the attack, we had a different formation, let's say, than the way we're defending and giving a little bit more emphasis in the box. And I think the guys did a very good job in the first half of that. Yeah, the biggest thing is sometimes you look for freshness. At that point, we're dropping a little bit too much, not to my liking usual, but sometimes the game brings that. And that's the toughest thing as a coach, to be able to change that from the outside. But in those situations, you have a lot of trust in your players, something that myself and Ashton here were talking as we were walking over here, that we kept very good organization. And then you look to make changes in there that are tactical, but also that allow you maybe to step higher up on the field. Sometimes the attacker, if you bring that freshness in with Jordan, Borges went in a little bit earlier. It gives you that ability to be a little bit higher up on the field, but also be a little bit more explosive in some of the moments that we had in transitions as well. Yeah, I think obviously the clubs have done a good job. I think the most important thing you look at, in 2023, it's everything always resets. That's the mentality that I have. So, history guides us as a club and what we've done, and it sets a standard. But after that, everything is zeros across the board because I think each and every team in this league always has an opportunity, has a chance. This is a very tough league when you look at it. It's 8 teams and you're playing everyone 4 times. That's not done across the world a lot. And that means you have to face Pacific another 3 times, and you have to be different in certain ways. You can't approach each and every game differently, and I think that's a challenge for us as the coaches. So yeah, of course, we've had a great history so far in the short history of the league. But that's just our guiding light as we go forward. That sets our standard, and we move from there. And I think, each club tries to set their own standard as well.
And there you heard head coach and technical director of Forge FC, Bobby Smirniotis. Interesting. I'm going to. I have to find the tweet I wanted to bring up, but Madrakar James was just absolutely phenomenal in this one. And the tweet was from Alexander Gange-Ruzic, and he pointed this out. Alexander, a guy we've had on the show many, many times. A guy, if you want all of as much inside CPL, just in terms of stats, I don't think anyone watches as much Canadian soccer in general as Alexander Gange-Ruzic. But his final tally, his count on Madrakar James: 2 tackles, 7 clearances for Forge, 4 interceptions, 8 recoveries, and he won 5 out of 7 duels. And in Alex's opinion, saved 3 points on a few occasions for Forge FC. So Mandrakar James, as advertised, if you weren't too familiar with his game when he first joined Forge FC, certainly at this point, you are very aware of what he can bring. So 3 points in the bag for Forge FC. And it was a big 3 points on the road against Pacific, a club that is hungry, and they just so badly want to beat Forge. I mean, every team does, but Pacific, they definitely don't want to lose at home to Forge FC. And a big, one of the keys to this match, which if you listen to or watch the 3 keys, you would have heard it, but scoring early against a club like Pacific, you're on the road, a stadium, Starlight Stadium, very difficult to play at on the island. And Forge, this was the game plan. Great start. They scored the opener, and they defended well in the second half. And this is what quality clubs do. So what's up next now? Well, the arch rivals on the road. Friday, May 8th, Forge at York. I guess geographical rivals would be more accurate than arch rivals. But okay, there's a rivalry there. And then after 4 days later, again, short week for Forge FC on a Tuesday, they're at home against Atletico Ottawa, quarterfinal of the Canadian Championship, a one match and you advance. And this is good. This is a big match because with a victory, Forge will get a shot, another crack at an MLS club in the semi-final. So big match at home for Forge. You're going to want to get your tickets. You're going to want to get them now because that match, again, how many storylines do you want? Forget the fact that even if you want to don't want to look too far ahead, and with Forge potentially playing an MLS club in another semi-final. It's Atletico Ottawa. It's their first match against Ottawa since that CPL final all the way back in October in our nation's capital, in which Forge FC secured their 3rd title in 4 seasons. So Ottawa's going to be out for a little bit of revenge. Forge looking to book their ticket into the next round, and they can do it at home at Tim Hortons Field. Again, that match is May 9th, but before we get there, away match, May 5th, 7:30 kickoff at York United. All right, I'm Anthony Urcioli. This is your match in review. Forge FC picking up all 3 points against Pacific on the road, moving into a tie for first place in the CPL table. Keep it locked onto the Forge Audio Network, the official home of your reigning, defending, undisputed Canadian Premier League champions, Forge FC. Stay tuned. We'll talk to you.